You might be quite surprised to learn that some recent research has shown that a lot of people in this country pray. 20% of British people say that they pray regularly, and 50% say that they pray sometimes. Now, often these prayers are when people face a crisis situation and they really need some emergency help, and these emergency prayers are prayed at that point of greatest need. But 70% of people pray about their family situation, which is again really understandable. But 42% of people pray when they want to thank God for something, and they just feel that God deserves praise and thanks when He's helped them out of a particular situation. However, Christians, we are taught to pray all the time, pray without ceasing, it says in the Bible. Pray 24/7, pray with thanksgiving on a regular basis, because it's about our relationship with our Father and that two-way process of listening and speaking, speaking and listening. The UK Olympic team have been coached recently to move away from bad athletic habits and then retrained for better sequence of actions. As they're being retrained into this new sequence of actions which are helping them to perform better in their sport, the body then instinctively recognises and remembers these new habits, as it were, and new muscle memory is formed. Prayer works in exactly the same way as that. We begin to pray and then habits develop, and new muscle memory prayer habits are formed within us, which then become second nature. As we're praying, we are training our spiritual lives to respond in the same way that the Olympic athlete responds to this new conditioning that they're experiencing. The Bible helps us to develop prayer as second nature when we learn to pray on a regular basis, and as the disciples said to Jesus, teach us how to pray, and Jesus instructs them in Matthew chapter 6, when you pray, say, Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And he begins to unpack the principles behind regular prayer and behind that notion of forming new muscle memory in prayer before God. As I travel around the UK, we see massive transformation happening in communities. But by far the best transformation we've seen is when it's been accompanied by powerful prayer, where the people of God, either as individuals or as groups, as churches or as communities, have been coming together to seek God's face about the transformation of their territory and forming these new prayer habits which encourage those answers to prayer to be second nature. A girl called Mareka was sharing with us, a student actually in Dawlish in Devon, about her prayer for the homeless community of her town and her heart's desire through prayer to see something that could change for their situation for the better. And she stepped out in faith to become the answer to her own prayers and started to get together food and clothing parcels for the homeless community in her town. When she shared this vision at the Rock Conversation in Dawlish about a year ago, we had a head teacher from a local school there, and he was so impressed with what she'd been doing that the school adopted her project for their project of the year. And now Mareka has gone from just providing a few parcels to homeless people, to being able to really see massive transformation for the whole homeless community in Dawlish. All started with that germ of prayer, that formation of prayer habits which leads transformation in community. What is your way of accessing God in prayer? What helps you to form good prayer habits? Think about those things today as we study this chapter together, and let's form some new prayer muscle memory.